Hello everybody, and welcome back. Been a little while, but we're back now. Gonna start with something simple today, the Gunner Brain video. So today we're gonna be doing this double warning elimination mission as, you guessed it, the Gunner. And we'll go ahead and go through the build real quick, using Big Bertha autocannon 3311, BRT with the compact mags, 13232. Just pause at any point if you need the specific stuff. Fast power attacks, 223 shields, 212 cluster grenades. Probably should switch those, but oh well. Normal armor spec for me. And we'll go ahead and skip out on the buff beer this time. This should be questionable easy. Let's see. Alright. Let's see how this goes. Never skip gold. Easy Holomite overall. I'll probably just try to lean out and pull one of these dreads right away. A little concerned about the Mactera Plague portion of this. Mactera Plague Swarmageddon. That is a very two-pronged assault for the gunner, so probably a good build for this kind of mission would be more AoE, Splintering Shells, Carpet Bomber, but I'm going to stick with direct damage mainly for the dreads and just kind of make do with the other stuff. So I've considered what I was going to do with the Gunner Brain video for a while, because most of the time the Gunner Brain is just shoot bug, and there's not really any ways to sugarcoat that, but I'll try to go through some of the more detailed stuff of like zipline movement and just kind of controlling where you're placing yourself in the cave to fight stuff, because this will be a lot of enemies other than the dreadnoughts in this mission, so this should be a pretty good example of both normal bug fighting and also boss fighting as Gunner. So no matter what you're doing with Gunner, you usually have your weapons broken up into two different roles. You'll have one for single target damage and one for more AoE and crowd control. And you can kind of lean both of the weapons in one direction or further away from each other. So right now I have the BRT, which is pretty much always a single target damage weapon, except for things like electro minelets. So because of that, realistically you should take something more AoE related on your primary, like Carpet Bomber, Splintering Shells, or Neurotoxin Payload. But since I'm on a dread mission, I'm comfortable leaning a little more into Big Bertha, because I only really need that little bit of AoE from Big Bertha to get by on normal swarms, and then I really want that extra direct damage for the actual boss fights themselves. So this is more of a build related thing, because there's not as much to the actual gameplay of Gunner. Not to say that there isn't a lot of movement and placement, but that's the same with every class. Gunner himself is more point and click. So we'll go ahead and wait for this Hive Guard to get in here. Good amount of nitro in this first room, really. This is going to keep us very safe for this whole mission. Also, with Gunner, you're able to be very reckless with resupplying. As long as you have a single shield in your inventory, you basically have a guaranteed resupply. With the exception of things like sand sharks, oppressors, and anything that can dig, it's almost impossible for any enemy in this game to interrupt you in a resupply inside of a shield. And then if you combine that as well with something like a perk like Born Ready, you can basically sneak resupplies even without shields. So, also running that perk, which may be a little bit of overkill, but whenever you're running Big Bertha, especially if you don't have the mag upgrade mod, you definitely want to have Born Ready, because you'll find yourself reloading very often otherwise, and the reloads are very painfully slow with autocannon. And when your entire class is about shooting, you want to have 100% uptime on shooting, and the absolute best and pretty much only way to achieve that with autocannon and your secondary weapon is through the use of Born Ready. This is a very unpleasant position for him. Probably just gonna have to slog through it with autocannon. Just hope I get the full phase of damage in. Rotate to face me. Nah, this is gonna be it. That's all we're gonna get. Damn, that's a shame. It's my fault. I shouldn't have broken him where he was. Hive Guard is not too bad. You can afford to play pretty recklessly against Hive Guard. So as you can see, I was mainly going for direct damage on those guys, but the fact that they stacked up on top of each other allowed me to milk what little AoE area there is on Big Bertha. Although it is a little area, it still has pretty damn good AoE damage. Aside from Carpet Bomber, none of the stats really get too far apart with any autocannon build. They're always both, you know, noticeably decent stats, so you always have decent AoE and direct damage. Just Carpet Bomber is the one that really nerfs the direct damage really hard. But even with Big Bertha, your AoE is still decent, which is why I've in recent year I've switched over to Big Bertha from Splintering Shells, because I always use Splintering Shells for a blend of AoE and direct damage, and now I'm using a blend of direct damage and AoE, which is basically the same thing, just there's more damage overall to be had. So we're getting one of Hive Guard's favorite little tricks here played on us, where the Sentinel doesn't like to show up. So it spawned through a wall somewhere, and it's now walking around the entire map somewhere. So it's kind of just stalling us out while we wait for the Sentinel to get here. Very unpleasant. We'll get here eventually, though. Thankfully, we have a lot of nitro, because these ambient waves of Mactera and Swarmers are absolutely bleeding us dry on ammo. Obviously, they'd be a little bit easier if I had Neurotoxin Payload or Carpet Bomber, but as you can see, Big Bertha gets the job done. Hive Guard, more than any Dreadnought, you can afford to sneak resupplies on, as he's very slow moving, and his attacks you could actually afford to tank a few of. Not his melee attacks, mind you, just his range attacks. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a shield down just to keep myself safe. Because what can happen is he could fire one of those bombs at me, it could hit the resupply and sink the resupply down while I'm resupplying. Therefore, he'd get a hit on me and break the resupply at the same time. That, and I had more than half of my shields, so it would have been wasted anyways during that resup. Here we go. Now we get a real damage window. After the update 34 rebalance, it's very hard to go wrong with BRT for close range damage. Or even long range. With this build, you can hit pretty consistent, like, long range shots. Sorry, I didn't mean to aim at those guys. I was just going to shoot at the ceiling up there, but they kind of just showed up. You can definitely put the Sentinels between yourself and the Hive Guard as well, and get a couple free hits from him on them. He doesn't do a lot of friendly fire damage to his own boys, but it's more than nothing, and it'll keep you safe from his shots. More than anything with any of the Dreadnoughts, it's important to deal with ambient spawns as soon as they show up. Due to the way the game mechanics works, you will not get natural waves during Dreadnought fights. However, with mutators, they are not considered natural waves. So you notice how we're only getting Macteras and Swarmers during these fights? That's because we have those two mutators active. Okay, getting both waves at the same time right now. Definitely not a fan of that. So normally you would be getting random waves of grunts and slashers on the Dreadnought missions when you're not fighting them, but obviously those waves are put on hold while you're actually fighting the bosses. However, like I said, the mutators have impunity to that, so Exploders, Swarmers, and Mactera will be pouring in on you constantly. Which Hive Guard has been doing a great job of stalling for them, so making this a little more difficult. Bulldog is a lot better with dealing with Mactera in my opinion, not as much wasted ammo. Usually just, if you build it right, it's one shot apiece. So, not my favorite use of BRT, but it gets the job done, and especially in solo, you have more than enough ammo to spare, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay. That was a rough fight. Took a very long time. I'm happy with the way I actually fought him, it's just that one Sentinel taking a really long time to get to me was bothersome. This is what I'm looking. Things like this is what I'm looking for. You always want to be fighting on flat ground in an open area with Gunner. He doesn't deal well with unpleasant terrain. So while this was a nice area to fight in, it's kind of getting messed up now by the fighting. So after this guy, if he does a lot of damage to the environment as well, I might have to move to a new area. This guy is a little more tricky for Gunner. He's a lot faster, a lot more in your face, and if you're using short range, high recoil setups, like a Bulldog, Elephant Round, 6-shooter with a lot of fire rate, you can struggle to stay close enough to him while also not getting hit, because he turns extremely quickly and does some very high damage melees. He's much less threatening in solo because of that move right there, where he roars and becomes immobile and doesn't attack for a short amount of time. So that can make it a lot easier to cope with this guy. Also, his slams are slowed down massively in solo, so that can give you a better window as well. You want to be very careful circle strafing him like that right there, because he could have taken a chunk out of me if he'd wanted to. Always keep arm's length. Swarmers are making this a lot more difficult because I can't just gap out the Dreadnought while I'm fighting them. He's actually actively on me. Whenever the Mactera show up, I'm definitely going to have to throw down a shield and empty BRT to kill them all. Otherwise, it's going to be really challenging. Oh, that's not good. Where did you come from? Now we have flying Swarmers in the mix. Deal with that with extreme prejudice. Okay. Swarmers are back again. Dash out of the way of that fireball. It's never a good idea to be near a wall with this Dreadnought because his fireballs have a very large area of effect, so even if you're not getting hit by it, it could fly past you, hit a wall, or hit a little piece of environment like that, detonate, and still hit you for most of the damage. So always want to be on flat ground, and you want to have him shooting at you and at an angle that doesn't make it collapse, or excuse me, collide with the ground or any environmental features around you. So like that. Just happened to me right there. Wasn't that bad because I was really far away from it, so just keeping as much distance as possible is good. But still, you don't want to be getting hit at all, if possible. Like I was saying, this area is starting to get pretty destroyed. A lot of Swarmers. It's going to be one of the highest kill dread missions I've had in a while. He can shoot fireballs through the back of his head as well. It does not matter where he's aiming. If he winds that fireball, it's going to come at you no matter what angle. So don't get caught up in a circle strafe while you're shooting fireballs, because you're just going to get yourself in trouble. I'm tempted to try to sneak a resupply here without the shield, but it's just too risky. I do have the increased damage while at max rate of fire on, so if I could actually spin my gun up without having to jump around him, it'd be very helpful. But it's never a good idea to stand flat-footed around Dreadnoughts. Okay, looking good so far. We'll go ahead and go this way, see if we can find any extra stuff. Put cryo on that guy, save myself some ammo. Still working off of this first resupply pod, which is really good. I do need to find a little bit more nitra though. I know there was somewhere I pulled that first Dreadnought from, but I'd like to not go back over there if I don't have to. That's not good. Be very unpleasant to get grabbed right now. Wouldn't make me a sitting duck for all these guys. Probably gonna have to shield this off to kill all these. Try to hit a good cryo rock. Okay, take out a lot of them. Bosco could get with the program today. Swarmers are here as well. Gonna get the hell out of there. Got our shield back. Definitely be waiting on that recharge with bated breath. Just focusing on dodging that spitballer. Oh, another one. Yikes. There's the nitro we needed. Okay. We'll go ahead and get this as well. Oh, I should have put that zipline to the ground. Not sure why I didn't. This menace needs to be dead soon. Alright, looks like we can take this dirt wall through that tunnel underneath spawn to the last dread. So that's what we'll do. Should probably have gone back for that last resupply chunk. We'll live with the consequences of that decision. Should be alright though, we have enough for another resupply, almost 2. Not almost, halfway to 2. I have a lot of primary ammo right now, so I'm trying to be kind of wasteful with that. That's good. Wow, this is a very long dirt wall. It's going to take a moment. This menace is a menace. He's been plaguing me for a while. Okay, he's actually attacking now, so I'm going to just move in on him. Almost. That was a prolonged fight with that guy. I do need to get through this dirt quickly though, because Macterran swarmers are going to be here very soon. And there they are. I believe it's 50 seconds for exploder and swarmer waves in these mutators. Probably leave something on screen there if I was wrong about that. If I can find a concrete answer. It's definitely not a long time. It's very frequent. Maybe it's 60 seconds. Okay, we're on our way. Go ahead and grab the rest of this, just so we have an extra resupply on hand. Doesn't look like there's anything special in this mission. I haven't really covered much of the map, but I didn't go down that long shaft on the left, but I'm fine with missing out on anything that's in that hell pit. Between the Macterra and the swarmers, I'm really not trying to get caught off guard in a vertical place like that. Especially as gunner. Would have been a safer bet there to just throw down a shield, but trying to handle issues in different ways here, just so I can show different ways of handling things. It's kind of like letting all those Macterra wind up on me and then diving out at the last second and then repositioning on them. That's not what I'm... Don't know why I figured that would be a cryo grenade. Playing too much scout lately. Did that... I didn't hit either of those. That's a shame. Oh, hello. Spitball infectors do a very small amount of friendly fire, so I'm just letting him help me out with this Brood Nexus. This looks like a machine event room. There's not one in here though, it's unfortunate. I think I am gonna pop that Dreadnought egg with this resupply, so we gotta get ready here. Oh no, it does just fall past them harmlessly. It's only if it lands on them. Oh, that's not good. I looked away for a single moment. Oh, and Bosco just popped the other swarmer nest. It's gonna be a lot of kills. This would probably be north of 500 if I had to guess. I should have dropped the resupply through the Jadas for style. I failed. This is a pretty decent Dreadnought fighting room though. I'd like it to be just a little bit wider, but the ceiling is a good height. This will be a rough fight if it's twins, but it shouldn't be unwinnable by any means. Okay. Oh, that's not good. That's really rough timing. Probably gonna eat it down here. That is so many Tri-Jaws. Yeah, we got stacked up on by the normal wave here. Okay. Just need to start thinking about how to reset out of this, really. Not necessarily over yet. We do have some sugar. We can work with that. Arbalest is absolutely shelling the hell out of me. I probably should have seen the twin fight coming here. And maybe even left this room, because this is a pretty tough room with how close the Arbalest is to me. But there's also the ceiling that the Arbalest can go through and take himself out of the fight. So that might be a blessing in disguise. That rock wave attack from the Lacerator is my most difficult thing to dodge. I struggle with it so much. Hits me with it so often because I always strafe enemies to the right because I'm used to dodging Praetorian's acid spit, which starts with a sweep from the left like that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and manually phase them so I can get this. It's not good, I didn't keep their health equal, but by forcing the heal then, I was able to not go down and heal myself. So, I'll consider that a win, indirectly. Especially since ammo really isn't a concern in this situation. I'm not at risk of running out, so. Not a big issue. As soon as I hear that sound, I need to train myself to strafe to the left. Wow, this Arbalest is a coward. Okay. It's just gone away. This is basically going to be me just fighting Lacerator to the death and killing Arbalest by proxy. Yeah, they're healing again. It's alright. It's not too big. Not too big of an issue. If I can just get one good burst on Arbalest, it'll be okay. Go ahead and use this shield to get a burst on him before he tunnels away. No, I don't want to go too far the other way because Lacerator is always going to be with me and available to hit. So. Okay. I'm getting to a point now where I can burst one of these guys. I want it to be Arbalest though, because Lacerator doesn't have an enrage mechanic. I might be able to get a pretty clean kill here on both. Nice. That is the ideal twins kill right there. No enrage from either of them. I'm gonna go ahead and split out of here though, because every moment I'm in this mission is a lot of risk. Just getting a swarm of Tri-Jaws flying around a corner and popping me in the face is... It's you know, it's on the table in every mission in this game, but in a Mactera Plague, it's expected, you know? So, let's not tempt fate. Double warnings still don't feel like a joke. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe I'll get to a point where I can just crush them, but at this point in time, it's still... I gotta have a little bit of respect. times there. A lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. Fumble one of those grenades because that crater. Just gonna wait here and dash out. Molly's gotta get in the pod first anyway, so I need to kill some time. Okay, that's the major threats out of the way. Farm out those kills. One of these guys could be a big milestone, who knows. Not too shabby. That was definitely a misplay on that twins fight though. I literally called it and I still was risking staying in that tiny ass cave with him. It was nice, like, diameter. It was just the arbalist that really complicated it because those shots were coming down so fast. If that ceiling was higher, it would have been like a perfect twins fighting room. But instead, it was difficult. Not too bad. Shame it was level capped for that. North of 500, not quite. Just slightly south. Cool. Hey there. Before I go, I just wanted to say that it's great to be back to making content, streaming over on Twitch, and it's good to be back on YouTube as well. I have a lot of big projects in the works, so stay tuned for that. I'll be sure to spoil some of that stuff in advance before it comes out, but as you guys already know, the Drop podcast will be starting pretty soon. My guest for the first episode will be a longtime friend of mine and DRG extraordinaire, Milligan. If you haven't checked him out already, you definitely should, and be sure to catch that episode with him when it comes out. Once again, it's really good to be back, and I'm looking forward to all the projects that I have in the works. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good day.